Hey guys, Justice Curry with you today. I want to talk about something near and dear to my heart. That is original artwork, one-of-a-kind artwork done by Mark Pennington. Now, Mark worked for Hasbro, the G.I. Joe line back from like 1985 to 1988. Now he does custom commission pieces for fans. You can literally, I'm going to put a link in my description to his Facebook page. You can reach out to him like I did and have him draw anything your heart desires. And once I start showing you some of his pieces he's done for me, you're going to flip out. Now, he was drawing vehicles and figures back in the 80s, and his skill level is like way up here. Now we're going to go on a tour momentarily where I go to show you some of the pieces I just got into the mail. And then I take them to Hobby Lobby and get them framed, of course. And then at the end, I'll show you all the ones that I have from him, because I have a bunch of them. Then we'll take a walk through my house and I'll show you them. All right? Stand by, enjoy. Hey guys, I just wanted to show you real quick. So I'm off to Hobby Lobby. That's a place where I can get my pictures framed. This wonderful artwork done by Mark Pennington. But he does something unique, and I can't throw these boxes away, because literally the box, he does little, quick sketches on the back. You got Croc Master there, Storm Shadow, Outback, Beachhead. So I'm gonna cut this off right here with my X-Acto knife. I even did it for a prior one that he sent me. So obviously I blacked out his address and my address, but he does this awesome looking Vietnam type Sergeant Rock.
He drew that on the packaging?
Yeah, on the packaging.
That's
so, I mean, we're going to go there to Hobby Lobby with the family right now as my daughter obstructs the camera view, but that's quite alright. And get these wonderful pieces of art.
Are you going to cut that out and keep the...
Yeah, I'll probably end up taking the packaging, cutting that out, the cardboard, and just putting it to the back of the frame. So I'll get it framed and then have it on the back going to be me. So here's another one. I'll show you guys more.
Trying to kill each other, sorry.
It's alright. Alright, we'll be back.
Teddy bear.
Hey buddy, we're gonna go bye-bye. Can you grab my shoe for me right there?
No.
Grab me my shoes right here.
No.
Hey, excuse me.
Where are we at? What's the store called?
Hobby Lobby.
Hobby Lobby. What are we here to do? Frame some pictures? Yes. Uh-oh. You ready? Ready to touch everything? We got Santa going on here? Alright, let's frame some fun stuff. Alright. To Hobby Lobby. I'm gonna sneak up.
Why would they do that to me?
Excuse me, sir. Sir. Ma'am, I was first. I was in line
Excuse
first.
you.
No, get
No,
out of my
get out
way.
of my way. Get out of my way.
Hey, Joe, I was
So
going
what
to
do I
videotape
do then
some
with
of
it?
What are you doing? Huh?
Okay, let me go to the other frame.
Yeah.
Let's see how much they are. Are they 50?
Alright, so I had a few options. My buddy Joe, we go back, way back. He's an antique picker and flipper, and I used to flip antiques more often than toys, and then I kind of transitioned to toys. But he helped me find some cool frames. I mean, there's a lot of different options back there, but then it starts becoming pricey, and I rather, you know me, I'm sometimes cheap, so I went to the 11 by 17 wall frames. There's no matting to it. I've done many times in the past Joe's customized some frames, and they look freaking fantastic. But these are the two that we're going with. They look all right to you, Joe?
Yeah, they look really nice.
Yeah. Can there be matting on these, or would it not even be possible?
Not really the way they are.
Really?
Yeah.
And that's
Just
fine.
come in on the image and
Yep.
be a tiny mat, and it would look bad.
It would look wampus.
Yep.
Okay. Well, while I have you, what's the coolest thing that you've ever framed?
There's one guy that owns a sign shop in Portage that collects like old cowboy movie posters from like the 40s.
Really?
Yeah, we framed probably like over a dozen for him. Those are pretty sweet.
Wow, that's awesome. awesome. And yeah, so I'm super excited for him to help me out and get these framed up nice. So I'll show you momentarily. Well, actually, it won't be momentarily. This will take how long?
Probably like the 16th is as soon as you'll get these.
The 16th. All right, awesome.
Right.
We'll be back. So my wife is getting her stuff framed first, and I'm in charge of these little munchkins. And they're filling up the cart, they're running around. It's crazy. But I'm gonna get Mark Pennington's wonderful art done very, very soon. So I'll show you the process. And we're back. I hope you enjoyed that pandemonium at Hobby Lobby, bringing my family and whatnot. But now I want to show you some of the art, which you've seen some already, but let's show you some more. This is typically in my son's room. This is the first piece that I had commissioned. Now, literally, you can tell, I mean, that's what I told him. I go, hey, Lowlight's my favorite G.I. Joe character. I want him in, I want a picture of him. And I kind of said, can you put some red on there? You know, his glasses and that little shoulder thing. And he gave me some options. He goes, do you want him like on a building or up in the mountains? And he will definitely work with you on whatever you want. He'll send a certificate of authenticity just in case, you know, years from now someone's like, oh, I don't believe that came from him. But you can buy any of this stuff. You can find this stuff online if you're patient enough. One of a kind. He's not making prints of this. This is the original, and that's why it makes it so special. I got tucked away back here, one of my favorite ones, and that's what I told him. I go, I want the Croc, not Croc Master, to be prominent. I want it like prehistoric looking, and he did that for me. What else? Oh yeah, one of the bats that you've already seen, but I have that here. Like I told you, low lights in my son's room. I just brought it down for now, and there's some reflective glare. But I told him, I go, I want like a bats and smoke in the air, and that's what he did. He kind of made this artistic looking smoke, put some of the bats like shadows back there, and you know, this is not a sketch that just takes a few minutes to make. This is professional. Then me. Not me, but Lowlight. I said, I want Lowlight on He-Man's Battle Cat. And he just took it and ran with it. He didn't want to make it perfect, look like the toy of Battle Cat. He put his own take on there, but incorporated some of the stripes for the tiger and whatnot of Battle Cat. And then put Lowlight. Loving it. In my little laundry room right here, another depiction of Croc Master. Just a solo standalone right there. But and then my final piece, one of my favorites again, is Mr. Alley Viper, taking in bullets. You know, he's in a riot type thing. People are throwing things and shooting at him. Sorry about the glare again, but I'm gonna have some still images to show. But please, guys, I mean, think about it. You can have all this other stuff in your collection, but to reach out to someone, an artist, a skilled, seasoned artist, and say, this is what I'm thinking, this is the ideas, you run with it, and only charge a few hundred bucks for that, that's a steal of a deal. So please reach out to him, tell him I sent you, and enjoy. Take care, guys. Bye. Hey guys, Justice Curry here. I am very fortunate to get the man himself, Mark Pennington, on the phone. I had to go through a bunch of red tape and agents and fees and whatnot, but no, I'm just kidding. He's an awesome guy. He agreed to talk to me a little bit about his work and his passion with art, and so I'll stop jibber jabbering and let the man himself start talking. But thanks a lot for being with me, Mark.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Yes, thanks. Yes. Obviously, I've shown throughout the video some of your work and why I think it's, you know, awesome for collectors to have this opportunity to, you know, talk with someone that was associated with the line of something that we hold near and dear, such as the G.I. Joe line. But I mean, G.I. Joe is not only the thing that you draw. I mean, you have multiple passions. But I'm just a little curious, how did this all start? I'm guessing at a young age?
Oh yeah, of course. I started playing with G.I. Joes obviously when they were the 12-inch figures. And I think I remember saving up $2.39, I believe, or $2.25, something like that. And you could even actually, if you looked, you could get them for under $2. But it was just a basic 12-inch G.I. Joe in the package with a hat and a pistol. And so that's when I started playing with them. And young, too, probably 6 or 7 years old, you know, when I was playing with those. So that's what got me into Joe. And actually, that kind of got me the job at Hasbro also. That and a couple of other things. I don't know if you want me to go into that now, but I will if you'd like.
Yeah, I'm definitely curious on how you got started with Hasbro, the years, and your kind of area of responsibility, or what you were doing there.
Well, I'll start at the beginning. I always liked to draw, and I always liked action figures and comics and science fiction and fantasy and that sort of stuff. And so after high school, I went in the Army. So that was a plus for working on G.I. Joe.
Right.
And also, when I was 16 years old, I'd worked in a plastics factory. So I knew about injection molding, I knew about seams, I knew, you know, a little bit about that. So that was the other thing that got me the job at Hasbro. So anyway, after I got out of the Army, I got married and then went to the Kubert School for 3 years. And Dave Dorman was doing paintings, final presentation art.
Right.
And I guess they had offered him a job because Ron Rudett had done the first 4 or 5 years of Joe, and he was just tired of it and wanted to do something else. He was just a little burnt out, which I don't blame him one bit. 5 years is a long time to work on one project.
Right.
So Dave suggested a Kubert School. So the Kubert School Hasbro came to the Kubert School, and I got interviewed. And everybody was a decent artist that interviewed. They could have hired any one of the guys. But like I said, I grew up playing with G.I. Joe 1, I worked in a plastics factory 2, and I was in the military.
Nice.
So
Perfect.
I played with guns and knew about real weapons and tanks and things like that. So, you know, and that was it.
Oh.
That's pretty much how I got there. Worked there for a couple of years, almost 3 years.
Oh, wow. So what was kind of your day-to-day operations there at the...
Well, it wasn't really day-to-day. There were like sections of the year.
Mm-hmm.
A part of the year was concept. Part of the year was presentation. Part of the year was sculpture sheets and getting everything done for engineering. And then, you know, it would be like that. So it was a whole, you know, we were 2 or 3 years ahead of when the actual toys would come out. So say January to March would be concept time. So, and I'm making this all up because I don't remember it. Anyway, you know, concept time. So then they'd come in and say, hey, we need 17 new guys for this year, and we need this many vehicle drivers. We try to plan everything out. But always an extra guy would get thrown in, or an extra vehicle would be thrown in or taken out. You never knew. But so they'd like 17 new guys. So we'd all sit in a room. Well, we haven't done a grenade launcher in a while. Let's do a grenade launcher. We haven't done the mountain climber. We haven't done this in a while. Let's do this. So then I would come up with like 10 drawings for each one. Say we need a new bombardier. So I'd make 10 drawings of stuff that I'd just make up.
You're right.
And then, you know, we'd go to a meeting.
Mm-hmm.
There are meetings. Go to a meeting. Look at these 10 guys. Okay, well, if you got lucky, they'd say, we like this one. Let's go to finish on him. But usually it was, well, we like this guy's boots, we like this guy's shirt, and we like this guy's hat. So then I'd do a few more drawings, you know, piecing that together or coming up with something else. And then another meeting. So once all those things were finalized, then I would do another round of presentation art, but this time it would be in markers, and it would be larger so that we could show them in the meetings, so that people in the back could see them. And those are just quick marker renderings. But they were fun to do. That was the most fun thing right there.
I bet.
The concept stuff was fun, but there's a little pressure, you know, just trying to come up with different ideas. But once everything was finalized, doing those marker renderings were a blast.
Right.
You'd put a little background in there and goof off. And so When that's finalized, then it was sent off to somebody like Dave Dorman.
Yep.
And they would do a final presentation piece artwork. And while that was being done, then we would start on sculpture sheets. For people who don't know what sculpture sheets are, it'd be front, back, and side views of each figure, of each head, of each weapon, of everything that came in the package. You know, if there was a sled, then I had to do front, back, and sides of the sleds with measurements, and everything was done 2-up.
Yes.
And then reduced 50%.
Awesome.
So,
awesome.
That's pretty much it, I think.
Right.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. Okay, so then after sculpture drawings were done, then they were sent off to sculptors, or sometimes it was done in-house. We had great sculptors in-house, but a few of them were freelanced out for different sculptors. Then after that was done, we would have more meetings, finalize the sculptures, or if we missed a detail, a screw or a bolt or a strap or something. Then once all those were finalized, they were sent off to China.
Yep.
And then that's where the molds were cut and reduced, in half.
Nice.
So after the molds were done, we would start getting what's that thing I sent you?
Oh yeah, a paint test, a figure. I'm trying to think. I'm drawing a blank too. And guys at home, a lot of the stuff that he's talking about is truly fascinating for collectors. I love hearing the backstory or how these toys came about. And if you are interested in learning more about this as well, my good friend Dave, I can never pronounce his last name right, Killensmith, Dan Killensmith, makes a wonderful book.
Smith, I think.
Yes, Killensmith makes a great book called 3.75 Joe, and it talks about the pre-production process. I'm sure Mark was part of giving some input into this book as well. And I'll put a link to that because I love hearing the stages, as I'm sure many of you at home love hearing about that as well. Sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to give a little plug to Dan there.
Okay. And so then once we finalized the sculpture and they were sent off to China, then it would start sending back unpainted figures. And we just wanted to check to make sure. It was just one final check. Usually they're perfect at this point. So after we give approval for the unpainted figures, then we start getting the painted figures in. Give approval for those, then everything goes into production, and I see nothing else after that.
Right.
I don't see any package artwork. I don't see the backstory. That's taken care of by Larry, and then the advertising department. They pretty much handled all the freelance assignments or the in-house assignments for the package artwork, which was great. I mean, those are icons in themselves, I think.
Oh, absolutely. Yep. What was
not as cool as the ones in the 60s, though.
Hey, yes, my dad. I still have my original. I'll show you later. My dad's original 12-inch GI Joe from the 60s that he passed down to me, and it's truly a keepsake. Not a keepsake. It is like a legacy that I'll pass down to my own son. And it's just amazing that you got to be part of the cogs and the gears behind the scenes. And as an adult, you were in the 80s, and me being a little tiny kid, playing with these toys that had such an impact on our lives today that we're even talking about it right now. I mean, that's how special it is. I absolutely love it. And what we're talking about too, this a big purpose of the video is art pieces, and I've shown the Alley Viper and the Low Light and the Croc Master that you did for me. So you do commissions where people can kind of give you their ideas, and you'll run with it. It doesn't have to necessarily be G.I. Joe. Is that correct?
No, that's right. After Hasbro, I only worked at Hasbro for almost 3 years, and then I worked for DC and Marvel and Dark Horse and as an anchor for the next 30 years. And I also did painted, I did illustrations for card companies, the gaming companies, Legends of the Five Rings, and other various things. So, yeah, but I do commissions now. I'm kind of retired from comics, and I still do the Carson of Venus strip. And I do commissions, but again, I probably do more superhero commissions than G.I. Joe commissions.
Right.
I don't care. Commissions are fun for me. You know, especially because you know that the person who's commissioning it, they want to keep the artwork. They're just not buying it for resale.
Exactly.
It's personal, that means something for them. And plus, I like doing it because, you know, I kind of treat my commissions as fine art. I don't really try to treat them as goofy G.I. Joe or comic book art. Or I don't think comic book art is goofy. I think comic book artists are probably the best artists in the world. But,
right.
You know, I just try to treat your pieces as you know, professional and so that people love them.
Yeah, I'm spending, you know, $50 to $75 each framing these things, and they're so important. You know, I got them all around the house. You know, having toys laying around the house is one thing with my wife going, oh my gosh, what are you doing? Keep it all in your toy room. But having those pieces of art bleed on into the rest of my house, that's acceptable because this is a fine art, you know, which I'm very appreciated. You know, when I walk out the door, it's one of the last things I see before I get in my car and go to work. And yeah, so I'm so appreciative. So everyone at home, please contact Mark. There'll be a link to his Facebook profile. Hit him up. As you're already seeing his wonderful art, it is truly something special. So thanks again, Mark, for taking this time to talk with me, and I'll let you get back to the sunny.
Sorry it took so long.
No, don't be sorry. Don't be sorry. Life is crazy. I'm juggling 8 million things at any given time. I'm sure you are. But
you've got a young daughter too now, so I'm sure you're like it's full.
Oh, it's constant. But
you just have the one child?
Nope, I got a 4-year-old and a 9-year-old now. So I got
so you know.
double trouble, man.
Man.
Yes.
Good luck.
Right. All right, everyone at home, please hit up Mark and get yourself one of these one-of-kind pieces. Take care. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Goodbye. All right. Real quick, just wanted to give a shout out and a plug to my Patreon page. What is a Patreon? Those are fans of this YouTube video. If you're watching, you're labeled now a fan of my YouTube video. Hit a comment, a thumbs up, what have you. But Patreons, I'll have a link in my description to take you to another site, and it's one that I created. You can contribute $1, a couple bucks, and it helps with all the freaking stuff behind the scenes, the editing, the filming, because I don't make any money on YouTube. But if you want to contribute and get some great perks in the meantime, I would greatly appreciate that. I love you all. Bye-bye.